Continuing on with our countdown to Creed 2 in November, let's take a look at the second Rocky movie, Rocky 2. If you haven't seen my review of the first film, you can check it out right here. Rocky 2 released in 1979, and one of the things I like most about this film is how effectively it builds on the previous entry without feeling contrived, as many sequels do. Every major character and plot thread from the first movie was wrapped up with a neat bow, making a continuation unnecessary. The modern equivalent to Rocky getting a sequel would be like if next week they announced a sequel to La La Land or something. Nevertheless, there was indeed more material to be mined from this story and set of characters.
Well, I'm officially retired now.
Once again, Sylvester Stallone works his life experiences into Rocky 2's story. In the 3 years since Rocky had first come out, Stallone had made 2 other films called Paradise Alley, which was also his directorial debut, and Fist. Both failed to attract much attention and had underperformed at the box office. He felt like people were no longer interested in him artistically now that the novelty of his first film had worn off.
Yeah, people kind of forget, you know.
Time is now.
So this time around, in addition to writing and starring, Sylvester Stallone also directs Rocky 2, which once again he had to fight the studio for after the commercial disappointment of Paradise Alley. Similarly, other people that Rocky meets throughout the film are either dismissive of him now that his 15 minutes of fame are up, or see him as a commodity.
You want to make $1? Here, sign it here.
Well,
Takes you 2 seconds to...
The film's plot picks up right where the first one left off, or more accurately, about 6 minutes before it ended, replaying the final round of Rocky's fight against Apollo. From there, Rocky 2 follows the lives of its characters during the months after the big fight, eventually leading up to a rematch between the two boxers. The movie takes a, well, what happens next approach to its storytelling, with almost all the events of Rocky 2 happening as a direct result of events from the first film. After Rocky and Adrian are expecting a child, Adrian makes Rocky promise not to fight anymore due to the risk of blindness from an injury sustained in his eye. However, the couple soon faces financial troubles brought on by reckless spending of Rocky's money from the fight. Never having had wealth before, Rocky impulse buys a nice house and a fancy car, as well as expensive clothes and trinkets for himself and others. He can't get a job that pays well enough to keep up with the bills due to his lack of education, and eventually, increased pressure from Apollo causes Rocky to reluctantly accept a rematch despite his wife's objections. Rocky 2 sees its main character a lot more conflicted and under pressure than he was the last time. Separate from the fact that he needs the money, Rocky's competitiveness makes him want to fight Apollo, but it takes him a long time to get into the right headspace for training because of stress over Adrian and later from complications that arise during the birth of their son, as well as the pressure he feels to provide for his new family. It's only once he receives Adrian's blessing that Rocky is able to fully commit himself.
What are we waiting for?
This movie also makes the smart decision to give Rocky's opponent, heavyweight champion Apollo Creed, a lot more development than he got the last time. Apollo is facing a bit of a personal crisis himself in Rocky 2.
Man, I won, but I didn't beat him.
He becomes desperate to prove both to his fans and to himself that the club fighter doing so well against him was just a fluke. Many people also think that Apollo went easy on Rocky to make for a better show.
You're a fake. The fight was a fake. Go kill yourself.
While this isn't true, what is true is that he definitely didn't take his training seriously last time, thinking of the match with Rocky as little more than a sideshow. This time though, Apollo's pissed. He puts everything he's got into training, and the film includes scenes of his regimen in addition to Rocky's. Carl Weathers is absolutely fantastic in the role, and he totally owns every scene he's in, even when only appearing as a voice from off-screen.
I'm ready, willing, and able to meet you anywhere, any place, anytime. I will meet and defeat this so-called fighter.
The film's score, once again by Bill Conti, is fantastic. It draws from a lot of what came before, but also introduces new tracks that fit in perfectly. The big day eventually comes, and we get a nice role reversal here between Rocky and Apollo. There's no more bloated fanfare as the champ makes his entrance, since now the fight is just as personal for him as it is for Rocky.
Going down, man. You're going down.
Meanwhile, Rocky is much more at ease and confident than he was the last time around, having already moved past his insecurities. This match is much more one-sided for Apollo, and he's killing Rocky in points. However, his desire to beat Rocky down gets the better of him. As the final round draws to a close, rather than simply staying away from Rocky and winning by virtue of his massive lead, Apollo goes in to finish his opponent, but it backfires and he ends up losing the match by TKO to the Italian Stallion, who becomes the new heavyweight boxing champion.
Good luck.
Like for Rocky last time around though, it doesn't really matter for Apollo that he lost the match. He's proven to his fans that he never carried Rocky, and he's proven to himself that at his best, Apollo is the better fighter of the two. After all, he was destroying Rocky before he let his ego get in the way. Rocky 2 is a pretty great movie, though it doesn't shine as brightly for me as the first one does. I love all the development Apollo gets, especially in regards to how it builds up he and Rocky as rivals rather than just two guys who happen to be fighting. Rocky's character arc is weaker in this film, however, than it was in the last, while Adrian spends most of the movie as little more than an obstacle to Rocky fighting, something that both he and the audience want to see happen, and that makes her character a little annoying in this film, even though you completely understand why she doesn't want her husband to box anymore. Polly and Mickey also get a lot less to do, though Mickey gets this one really nice little scene in a chapel with Rocky, and one of my favorite lines in the whole series.
You're gonna eat lightning, you're gonna crap thunder!
Overall, while I still really love Rocky 2, and I'd rate it highly as a film in its own right, it would probably be on the lower end if I were to give a personal ranking out of all the Rocky movies. It's got a very similar tone to the first movie, and most of what's great about Rocky 2 is either done better in the first film or in subsequent ones. Speaking of subsequent films, the next one up is one of my favorites in the franchise. It's The Eye of the Tiger. Next week, we're taking a look at Rocky 3. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more like it in the future. Leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on Rocky 2. I've also got a lot of other videos up on this channel you can check out if you like this one. There's some links up here on the screen. Thanks very much once again for watching, and take care.